Authors Toastmaster Club, in which they are meeting are hosted every Wednesday evening at Tanah Club. Last but not least, we have our Brunei Advanced Speakers Club, in which their meeting are hosted every first Friday of the month currently at Avenue 41. Next, I would like to invite everyone to help me to recite the Toastmaster mission, which is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Thank you. In Toastmasters, we have our own educational system in which we call them as pathways. Pathways help us to develop a specific set of skills we would like to work on once we become a Toastmaster member. For more information about Toastmaster pathways, you can always ask our Vice President of Education, Persuasive Influence Level 4, Journalism. To make sure the entire meeting goes smoothly, I would like to lay out some house rules. First is to please refrain yourself from talking about taboo topics such as sex, politics, and religion, because it's to respect our culture in Brunei. Second, please silence your mobile devices or any electronic devices as to not disturb the meeting. Thirdly, please refrain from going in and out of the meeting room when a speaker is speaking, and you may move around during the break time or during the interval. Next, there is a $5 guest fee and $3 for students for tonight's meeting. You can pay to me once during the break time later. Next, I would like to ask some of the guests tonight to introduce themselves and what motivates them to come to Toastmasters tonight meeting. May we invite Nina?
Hi, good evening. I'm Nina. I'm here to support Rawana as I did 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that's my motivation for tonight.
Next, can we invite the gentleman?
My name is Masur. The reason I would like to join this club is just the progress of my career. I have a fear of public speaking, so I just want to overcome that by joining you guys here. Thank you.
I think that's all our guests for tonight. Without further ado, I would like to pass the stage to our Toastmaster of the evening, which is the host of tonight's meeting. May we invite Persuasive Influence Level 4, Strategic Relation Level 1, Journalism.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Can we have a louder clap, please? Round of applause to the center as well for opening up the meeting. So this is my first time doing the TME for this year. So please be okay with me. Alright, so I wouldn't be able to do this role all by myself without the help of my fellow role players. And all of these role players are so amazing. The moment I put up the volunteer, all of them sign up within one night. It's so amazing. I don't even put up any work. Wow. Congrats to them as well. Now let's invite the role player one by one, starting from the table topic master. Can we invite Toastmaster Amar Mirza to introduce his role to us, please?
Thank you, everyone. My name is Amar Mirza. I will be your table topics master of tonight. So my role is to facilitate a table topics where I will pick one of you to speak on stage for 2 whole minutes under a subject or a topic that I choose. The theme for tonight's table topics would be qualities of a good leader. I hope you have fun. Back to you, Toastmasters of the evening.
Thank you very much, Amar. Really great topic that you choose. I'm looking forward for your session. Next, can we invite the table topic evaluator? This is his first time being the table topic evaluator. Can we give him a warm applause to Toastmaster Nazri Saman.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nazri Saman. I am your table topics evaluator for tonight. I will be evaluating the table topics speakers in the table topics session hosted by Amar, our table topics master. Just want to do that. As a TTE, I will be focusing on each speaker's speech structure and give my summary report in the third part of the meeting. I look forward to hearing and validating all of the speakers tonight. And back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you very much for your introduction, Nazri. Next, can we invite our grammarian, Toastmaster Iqbal Omar, to introduce his role to us? Applause, please.
Good evening, everyone. I will be the grammarian for tonight, and I will be detecting grammatical slip-ups, so in speeches throughout the session, and also we'll be making suggestions for improvement of misusage of expressions, of use of prepositions, and so forth. As one part of my role, so I am presenting you the word of the day, which is mushroom. So it holds two meanings other than being a conventional fungal plant that we are familiar with, right? So the first meaning is to increase or spread or grow rapidly. Sorry about that. I think that's the second meaning. Yeah. So for instance, online courses have been mushrooming ever since last year. Second example is to resemble the shape of a mushroom. For instance, the nuclear explosion mushroomed out into a gigantic flag. Okay, I would like to highlight that this word is applicable when describing an increase in number of people, for instance, number of organizations, and also growth of an industry or business. You are encouraged to incorporate the word of the day in your speeches. So with that being said, so good luck to all speakers and have a good time, everyone. Back to you.
Thank you very much for your explanation. Ladies and gentlemen, when you join Toastmasters for the first time, it can be very, very scary. But over time, your confidence will be mushroom. Over time, mushroom over time eventually. Trust me, I was so scared back then. Next, can we invite our art counter in blue set, but effective coaching level 1, Lawrence Powell, to introduce his role to us, please.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and beloved guests.
Good evening.
The purpose of the R counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler sounds such as and At the same time, I will take note when the speaker repeats a word or phrase such as I, or this means. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. For the Who Said What session, I will be asking a few questions about the content delivered by each speaker. Therefore, make sure you pay attention to every one of them. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you very much, Lawrence. With having the art counter, I need to keep watching of my filler words. Sometimes I might slip. So I have to practice. We all have to practice as well, correct? Correct.
All right.
Next, can we invite our timer? It was supposed to be Spain, but can we invite Lim Kiamshin to introduce the timer role, please?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Now, I'm Sheng. I'm your timer for today, and my role as a timer is to time the prepared speech speaker and the table topic speaker and the evaluators during the session. It is to ensure that the session runs smoothly in time. And to help with that, I have this device right here, and this small bell is to help inform the speakers of their remaining time. Now, for the first part of the meeting, we're going to have the table topic session. So for the table topic speakers, they have 2 minutes. So I will light the device at green for 1 minute time remaining, 1 minute and 30 seconds for yellow, and 2 minutes I will show the red light. And at 2 minutes 30 seconds, it will be their time's up. And with that, I will ring the bell and clap to encourage the speaker to come back to their seat as to allow the other speaker to have more time on stage. And for the second part of the meeting, we have the prepared speech session where the prepared speech speaker we have Tawana who has 5 to 7 minutes on stage. So at 5, 6, and 7 minutes, I will shine the green, yellow, and red light respectively. As for Shatra, her project, her time is 15, 17, and 20 for green, yellow, and red, but she requested for it to be 5, 10, and 15 for green, yellow, and red respectively. And for the third part of the meeting, we have the evaluation section where the evaluators evaluate the speakers. For the table topics evaluator and the general evaluator, they have 4 minutes to perform their evaluation. So it will be at 3 minutes and 30 seconds and 4 green, yellow, and red respectively. And for the prepared speech speaker, the grammarian, the R counters, and who said what, they have 3 minutes to do their evaluation. So there will be 2, 2.5, and 3 at green, yellow, and red respectively. And with that, I will give my timer's report at the third part of the meeting, which is the evaluation session. And as my second part of my role is the tip. My tip is to pay attention to the timer device, as this will help tell you of your time remaining. And with that, back to you, Toastmaster of Evening.
If you all want to go on time, pay attention to the timing device, okay?
Okay.
Next, as mentioned by Sheng, we have the evaluation session. So this evaluation session will be hosted by our general evaluator. Tonight is his first time to be the general evaluator. Can we invite Visionary Communication Level 1, Wilson Kong, to explain us his role? Thank you.
Once again, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
As for the third part of the meeting, I will be hosting the session, the evaluation session. As we all know, Toastmaster, we strive on getting feedback and work with the feedback that is given to us. So, which is why Toastmaster, we have general evaluator, which is to evaluate the evaluators and the role players for tonight's meeting. And I will comment on the setting and wherever I see necessary. So, good luck, Shannonism. Back to you.
And also good luck to the rest of us. I noticed that the word session is kind of hard to pronounce. Sometimes I pronounce it as session for some reason.
Session.
It's quite hard because of our Malay nature probably. For
Kecil
tonight,
lah.
we're going to have 2 speakers. It will be first by Tawarna Harun, evaluated by Mayhan, and second we're going to have a question and answer session hosted by Shatra Rostan, which will be evaluated by TechG. So this is the agenda for today's meeting. As you can see, we will have the table topic session first for 10 minutes, and then the prepared speech for 30 minutes, and then we're going to have a 5-minute breaks, and then we're going to continue on with the evaluation session. I hope that explains the agenda for tonight's meeting. Next, for method of the day. So this is method of the day. I hope everyone can see. About 7 months ago, I met an old friend, Dalton Lim, at a meeting. So he looked at me rather suspiciously. He said, "What?" And then he told me, "Hey Shana, you're getting fat, huh?"
What?
I was taken aback back then because when I looked to myself, okay, June. But then that's maybe my confirmation bias. So I just punched in my weight and my height into a BMI calculator. To my surprise, I was actually overweight back then. My weight was 79 kilo, my height was 77. So at that point, I was determined to lose weight, and so I can be within the normal BMI range. So I should be at most 75 kilograms. At that time, I watched a lot of YouTube videos for me to get motivated to do something. But then I know by getting motivation, it's not enough for us to reach something. So I need to do something. So at that point, I have to be disciplined and monitor closely my daily food intake every day for the past 6 months. And I even cook for myself for the first time in 25 years. Wow! So it helped me to lose weight. Fast forward 6 months later, I finally lost 10 kilograms. 10 kilograms. I am now 69 kilograms, below 70 for the first time in 6 years, I think. So this was me back then. The first time I joined Brunei Speakers Club, I even wear the same. So moral of the story is, ladies and gentlemen, a person's blunt remark and countless of YouTube video is not enough. For you to get motivation, it's not enough. You need to be disciplined. You need to do something in order for you to reach your desired goal. So motivation keeps you going, but discipline keeps you growing, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Next, we're going to move on to the table topic session, which will be hosted by our table topic master. Can we invite Toastmaster Amar Mirza up to the stage, please?
Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone again. So today, now we come to the fun part of the session where everyone or some of you can actually participate in a table topics. So for tonight's table topic session, I will be hosting a theme which would be the qualities of a leader. I'm pretty sure everyone has a leader in their life, whether it be their parents or someone that they inspire to be, correct?
Yes.
I can't hear your answers. Do you guys have anyone that you guys inspired to be? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, there we go. So, first person that I would like to call for a table topic session would be none other than Tenji. No? Okay. Chirong then.
Yeah, Chirong.
Okay, for the first question that you'll be receiving, it will be, what bad habits do you want to break? What bad habits do you want to break? Chirong, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, this topic is really hard because I can't think of any bad habits that I have. And that is perhaps already something that I should be much more aware. Now that you got me thinking, right, I think if I could do one thing differently right now in my life, I think it would be to be more organized. I'm a person who likes to be productive. I like to be very active at work. I don't like not moving. I cannot sit still. But a lot of times I find that I'm always scrambling to my hours, and that's why I always think, how come time flies by so fast? Yeah, I've never had a proper checklist to start my day off with. So I believe for me to be, this is a bad habit, and something that which I can perhaps improve on is to have a list of things, of tasks written down so that I can be more organized. This would perhaps make my day more efficient and I can run my tasks more effectively. So yes, to have much more organized, to be much more organized in my day-to-day activity, I think is something that, in other words, to break away from the bad habit of not planning ahead. Perhaps that's the right way. I think that is something that I would very much love to have the discipline in doing, for I believe it will help me to be more effective in my everyday life. That's all.
Thank you very much, Chirong. The man with no bad habits. Hey. So once again, give a big hand to Chirong, everyone. So for the next speaker, may I call the drinking man?
Yeah, the drinking man.
Okay, Philip, your question or table topic will be, what is the #1 quality that makes someone a good leader? What is the number one quality that makes someone a good leader? You have 2 minutes to state this series.
What is the number one quality that makes someone a good leader? I think the first thing I look for in a leader is whether he knows what he's doing. He must know where we are going so that we can follow him. If not, we are all lost. But it's easier said than done. How do you know the guy is going the right place? In the right direction? Unless we want the same thing too. If we want the same thing and he pointed out and he knows how to lead us, that I think is a good leader. I'm going to give offhand, I'm going to talk about Toastmasters Club leadership. I think he must like to talk. He must like giving speeches. And he must like learning to speak on his feet. Like all of us are doing. He must lead by example. That's what I mean. If I can see him struggling, that means I'm on the right track. Because I struggle. And when I see him struggling and succeeding, I feel inspired. I like to follow their footsteps. You know, while talking to you, I can sense that Tawana is going to be the next leader. I can sense a burning desire in her to excel. I think that is a sign of good leadership. She inspired me actually for the last few sessions, the way she went about organizing a speech, giving a speech, and she's so productive. One speech after another. That, I think, is a sign of a good leader in a Toastmasters Club setting like this. Because she showed us what to do, and she made it seem possible. If she can do it, we can do it too. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
If she can do it, we can do it too. Good, very, very nice speech. Next, can I have a volunteer from the room? Anybody? Going once? Wow, going twice? The Toastmasters has no volunteers. Okay. Then can I have Dina to come on? Okay, is this your first time doing table topics? You'll do great, I'm pretty sure. What motivates you to do your best? What motivates you to do your best? You have 2 minutes, Dina. The stage is yours.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm supposed to say that like as well. Okay. What motivates me to do my best? In all honesty, I think it was my mother, who sadly passed away last year. I was when I came back from the UK. I was volunteering in a couple of youth leadership organizations, and my mother, when she fell sick, I thought that I couldn't do anything to help her, so I actually decided to volunteer and put a lot of effort into the organization for her sake. That was one of the most gratifying and challenging times of my life within the past few years, but I am happy to continue to volunteer right now through other organizations as well. And right now what motivates me is something that is quite difficult because I have sort of lost that sense of purpose because of my mother passing away. But at the moment, I am trying to find different ways that motivate me, and I think the closest one to that right now is actually my students. I feel like the youth have a lot of potential when it comes to their leadership skills, their communication skills, and the way that they can contribute towards society. So for me, what I continue doing is helping them achieve their goals and helping them to try to achieve their passion in any way that I can, particularly through teaching, the capacity building, and hoping to inspire them to become the next generation of leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Lena. That was a very, very wonderful speech. I guess leaders do flock together. All right, for the final speaker. No more speaker? All right, that will end my session for tonight. Now, can I pass the floor back to? Oh, yes. Apologies. So, I would like for all of you to think about who spoke the best for tonight in today's table topic session. Whether it be Chirong, the man with no bad habits but would like to do things more efficiently, Philip, the drinking man who would love to lead by example, and Dina, the motivational teacher. That will be all from me. Back to the Toastmasters of the evening.
We may cast your votes for the best table topic speaker to Amar. He will be collecting the votes from all of you, and then we're going to find out who will be the best table topic evaluator. Now, it's the end of the table topic session. We're going to get into the prepared speech session. So for our first speaker will be delivered by Tawana. She will be attempting the level 1 P258 and her evaluator, can we invite Toastmaster Lin Mei An to introduce us the objective of her speech.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Tawana will tonight be undertaking her level 1 P2A project under the evaluation and feedback team. For tonight's meeting, Tawana will be giving a speech of any form of a choosing and liking. My role for tonight would just be to observe her, to take notes of her strengths and weaknesses, and to report this back to her in the hopes that she will be able to implement what have been told to her in her next project for L1P2B. Without further ado, let me return the floor back to Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Shanor.
Thank you very much, Anne, for the introduction. Middle child syndrome. I really love the middle child because I can relate them very much. I can relate. So tonight, Tawana Harun will be delivering her speech which is about middle child syndrome. She would like to share with us her personal story about being the middle child and how it parallels with the middle child syndrome. Sounds interesting? Yes, right? Yes. Can we invite Toastmaster Tawana Harun up to the stage, please?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Can I get a bit more energy, please? Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Fantastic. Before I begin, may I please have a show of hands of the firstborn in the room? Wow, there's so many of you. Okay, thank you very much. Can I have a show of hands of the youngest born in the room? Last born? Okay. And can we get the middle children? The middle part? Well, mostly on this side. Stay with me. Okay. Thank you very much. So my topic for today, Shana mentioned, is middle child syndrome. So what is middle child syndrome? To understand this better, we will look at three things. One, the definition of a middle child. Two, birth orders and the traits that come with them. And three, me. How does it parallel with me being a middle child? Does it make sense? Let's go. What is a middle child? Very simply, a middle child is a child that is born between two siblings. My apologies. Between two siblings. Or any children that are not the oldest or the youngest in the family. So you could have 6, 7 siblings, number 1 and number 6. Everything else is middle child. Okay?
Everything.
So
Everything.
birth order and their traits. This is very important in trying to understand what middle child syndrome is. So to give context, let's go. Firstborns. Firstborns they're wanted. They're facilitated. They're accommodated because the parents planned for them and they wished for them to be born. So they are treated like gods, right? They have all these pictures, all these sonograms and everything. Like everything's just done. They get to experience everything first. But they are then demoted to kings and queens once there's another one. Once there's another sibling, once they have a sister or brother. So in this sense, the firstborn are used to being the perfectionists, the high achievers, the leaders. They're very bossy and responsible, motivated and conscientious, because now they not only lead the pack, but they also are responsible for the others. Okay. A famous person, firstborn, don't say. That one I didn't know it. Okay, next we have the lastborn. Okay, the lastborn, they're the baby forever. As much as they mushroom into adulthood, they are pampered endlessly. They're forever the baby because no one is after them. So in this sense, they have a lack of sense of responsibility. And parents are less strict because they got practice with the other siblings, right? It's like, oh, okay, this one's fine. So the youngest usually has more freedom and is usually more creative. So here they are more social, they're charming, they're outgoing, uncomplicated, manipulative even, because they always need to get the attention on them, because they always have to fight off the attention of the other siblings, right? Okay? And they are usually self-centered, maybe not in a bad way, but fun. Okay? One person we know in this position is Ariana Grande. She still gets her brother to piggyback her when she's tired. And she's 24. Very thin. Okay, so middle child syndrome. Unfortunately, when it comes to the middleborns, it seemed to be a more negative impact. You saw all the traits of the firstborn and the lastborn, but with the middle children, look at that child. So sad. Like finding out that they have another sibling now, they're no longer the youngest. And the connotation that comes with middleborns is that they feel left out. They can be rebellious, peacemakers, adaptable, independent, go-between, or they are people pleasers. Does it sound resonating with anybody? Okay. But being the middle child, you're in a predicament. Why? Because you have a leader in the form of your older siblings, but at the same time, you yourself are a leader to your younger sibling, right? You have an idol, yet you are being idolized. So that's why you're in this kind of mindset, running between. What do I do? What am I good at? And it's always seen to be negative. However, also the lack of attention from parents, especially in a situation where there's 3 children. The middle child is always the one lacking attention because the firstborn, mostly favorite of the mothers, gets anything they want. The youngest, attention seeking, needs all the attention. So where does the middle child go? The lack of attention then leads to more independence. Just like Mr. Bill Gates, he's a middle child. This actually led him to being successful because being a middle child and being independent helped him think outside of the box to find solutions that were equipped for him. Because no parent was going to be helping him. All his siblings were busy with their own lives. So that's how he actually started Microsoft. He wanted a solution for himself and he thought outside of the box. On the flip side, however, we have Ibu Menosmas not being. So with the lack of attention, there's a tendency to rebel from the middle children, right? So you're seeking for that attention so much that you gain so much anger and you don't really want to go through anything. But at the same time, is it necessary to call it middle child syndrome? Why syndrome? Why make it sound like it's something that you need to fix? And why is it always so bad? So there's a researcher, multiple researchers agree, and say it's no longer syndrome. There they're just commonalities. And they are no longer seen to be negative, because now middleborns are the best at sharing. They're the best at listening. They're skilled negotiators being in between two people. You know, some people are nodding their heads like that. And they're risk takers because they're so used to being rebellious. They're like, okay, they're not going to catch me, I'll just do it. You know? They're justice seekers because they understand how it is to feel like the underdog. They're adaptable and, as I said, independent. So how does this relate to me? Arwana, the middle child. So, this is my family, my siblings. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am number 4 of 6. So, these are some of the traits of a middle child that I resonate with. Knows how to share, definitely know how to share. I'm a risk taker, I feel. I'm a justice seeker, definitely. I make sure that everybody is treated fairly. I am adaptable and I am independent. I prefer to be independent. However, I don't resonate with all these traits being a middle child. I'm not the best at listening, unfortunately. That's kind of why I'm here too. Okay? Also, even being a lawyer, I'm not the best skilled at negotiating. Because I can be thought, no, listen to me only, I'm the only one who's right. But why? This stems from me having a stint as the youngest for 3 years. So I actually was the last born for 3 years. That's made me sociable, charming, I would like to be, outgoing. I seek attention, yes, I'm an extrovert, but I'm fun. But I am not uncomplicated. I am not manipulative. I am not self-centered. See, look at me having fun. There, so much fun, right? But why don't I resonate with all of these things? Because more so, I resonate with being the firstborn. Why? I'm a perfectionist? I think so. I'm a high achiever, definitely. And thank you, Philip. I think I'm a leader too. I'm definitely bossy. I'm responsible, motivated, and conscientious. But why is that? It's because in my family, within my siblings, we were divided into 2 subgroups. So my 3 sisters were always together. They always did stuff without me. And then next, I had to take care of my 2 brothers. So I became their leader. And I continue to lead them. So I was their example. To conclude, does middle child syndrome or middle child commonalities really resonate with just middle children? We have to take into consideration pecking order is not everything. Because in my situation, it was situational, right? And I adapted as per necessary. I no longer feel or resonate with being a middle child as opposed to being firstborn. So at the end of the day, should your birth order define your characteristics? And I'll leave that up to you. Thank you very much.
When she said people pleaser, it hurts inside. But I get the chance for being the next Bill Gates, so it's okay for me. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. So now we're going to move on to our second speech, will be delivered by Shatra. She will be doing a question and answer session. But before we invite her up to the stage, let us invite her evaluator, presentation mastery level 4, Teji, to explain us the objective of her first speech.
Shatra today will be attempting the level 4 project, which is a question and answer session. It will be a 20 minutes project. First, Shatra will deliver a speech, and then she'll host the Q&A session. Now, in my evaluation for Shatra's project, I'll be looking at 2 things. First is the speech, whether the topic that she's going to present allows for an effective Q&A session. And secondly, more importantly, it's a Q&A session because this project is about Q&A. I'm going to be looking at the effective use of time between the speech and the Q&A, and how she responds to questions or the lack thereof. And I'm going to look at how she handled difficult audiences, and I'm going to look at how she managed her time between questions. So I'll be back at the third part of the meeting later to deliver my report. With that, back to you, Toastmasters.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Teji. Now I'm going to read out the synopsis this is quite long. Shatra has been experiencing recurring sleep paralysis for as long as she remembers. In an episode, she was rudely awakened to a chilling sight of a menacing spectre sitting on her chest, suffocating her. She couldn't move, nor she could scream for help, as it feels like under an evil spell. Is the spectre sitting on her real, or it was just a terrifying hallucination? What was happening to her body? Why couldn't she speak or move? In tonight's speech, she will help make sense of what sleep paralysis is, its trigger, and how to snap out of it. I really want to know. Can we invite Shatra up to the stage, please?
Imagine this. You are having a pleasant dream, and suddenly it starts to turn dark. You're feeling a mushrooming sense of dread and anxiety. Your dream slowly starts to turn into a nightmare. Then, all of a sudden, you wake up. You wake up with a gasp, happy to flee from that nightmare, where you realize that you've woken up into another dream, and it's another nightmare. You can't move. You can barely breathe. And no matter how hard you try, your limbs refuse to listen to your commands. So you lie in bed, panting for breath, completely paralyzed. And there, in the darkness of your room, can't see anything there, but it's okay. It's actually a little specter in the middle, a dark figure in the window. So there, in the darkness of your room, you swear you can see a dark figure. It's watching you, maybe even smiling. It looms closer and closer. It looms closer and closer, and when it's right on top of you, it lets out a blood-curdling shriek. You try to open your mouth and scream, but no sound comes out. You try to get out of your bed and run away, but you can't move. You're completely immobilized. And then it's trying to suffocate you, but you can't fight back. In a flash, it's gone, and your body starts to move again. You get out of your bed, you turn on the lights, and you look around your room. There's no one else there. It's just you all alone without another person inside. This experience is fairly common. It is a medical condition called sleep paralysis. It is part of the sleep disorder called parasomnia, which results in undesirable physical and verbal behaviors such as talking and sleeping during sleep. According to sleep medicine studies, about half of the population have experienced sleep paralysis at least once in their lifetime, and about 5% of those have experienced regular episodes. And if you haven't experienced it, well, lucky for you, it's coming. Sleep paralysis has been the makings of nightmares for hundreds of years, and this is the earliest depiction of sleep paralysis, which was painted in 1781. And it is so common, if you can see, it's actually a woman with a goblin sitting on top of the chest. And this experience is so common that in every culture throughout time, each culture has some sort of paranormal explanation to it. In the Japanese culture, it is called kanashibari. It is associated with the sleep demon, which visits you while you sleep and strangles you to death. Similar tales also originate from Turkey and Zimbabwe. Thank Turkey, it is called karabasan, in which a jinn visits you in your sleep and sits on your chest. In Zimbabwe, it is called Matsitirira, in which a witch visits you in your sleep and presses you down strongly on your chest as well. It follows a very common theme. People used to think that sleep paralysis is caused by supernatural beings, but there's actually a very scientific explanation for it. And in order to understand sleep paralysis, we need to first understand the sleep cycles. There's 4 stages of sleep cycles that the brain goes through, and during sleep, it goes through falling asleep, and like non-sleep, where the heart rate slows and body temperature drops, and then you go through deep non-REM sleep, where you're experiencing deep sleep, muscles and tissues repair, and the last stage is the REM sleep. The REM sleep is rapid eye movement, in which your eyes move rapidly from one side to the other. This is the part where your brain is active. And this is the part when dreaming occurs. And when dreaming, there's a special neurotransmitter called retinoia that paralyzes your body. And this is what keeps you from running in your bed, so that you are not running in bed while being chased in your dreams, so that you are protected and you don't hurt yourself. A REM sleep cycle consists of 25% of your sleep, and it occurs several times throughout the night since each cycle is repeated. Scientists believe that sleep paralysis is caused by an abnormal overlap of the REM and the waking stages of sleep. During a normal REM cycle, you are experiencing dreaming, your muscles are paralyzed due to the retinoia, your brain is conscious, and you are fully asleep. And during a sleep paralysis episode, you are experiencing the normal components of REM. You're dreaming, your muscles are paralyzed, only your brain is conscious and wide awake. When paralysis intrudes into wakefulness, this creates a collision of the dream world and the real world. And this creates confusion and fear. And this fear and confusion is what makes you hallucinate and makes you believe that there's a specter or an evil spirit next to you. That explains the hallucination, but what about the panic, the strangling, and the choking and chest pressure? A combination of your body's fear response and your brain being wide awake triggers a response for you to take in more oxygen. You're gasping for air, but REM atonia also removes control of your breathing. And you're struggling for air, and your breathing becomes more rapid and becomes more shallow. And you take in more carbon dioxide, and this creates a small blockage in the air. And your struggle for air during sleep creates that sensation of pressure in your chest. How do we snap out of it? How do we snap out of sleep paralysis? The tip is to try as hard as possible to move, or relax and let it pass. Maybe if you are experiencing it and you want to really try to break out of it, try to perhaps wiggle a toe or moving a foot. That would end your sleep paralysis sooner. Or if you're sleeping with someone next to you, if that person is aware and is actually asleep, who needs to have better life choices. If that person realizes a touch or a call from that person would end your sleep soon. Or you could also relax. Remind yourself it is just a hallucination now that you know that it's a hallucination and it's not real. Sleep paralysis ends in a few minutes, and while it is scary, it is not dangerous. What are the causes of sleep paralysis? In healthy individuals, it happens as a one-off event due to sleep deprivation, certain medications, stress, excessive alcohol consumption, and altered sleep patterns. But ongoing episodes have been linked to hereditary disorders, Unfortunately, there is no cure to this. But the NHS UK suggests regulating your sleep schedule. If you are skimping on your sleep, you are more likely to experience sleep paralysis. 6 to 8 hours of sleep and waking up and going to bed at the same time every day might help. Sleeping on your back also contributes to the problem. Sleep journal researchers have reviewed a study of more than 6,700 people and found out that those who sleep on their backs are more prone to sleep paralysis. However, the cause is unknown. So perhaps until research is more consolidated, you might want to sleep on your side. The Stanford Healthcare stated that education about sleep stages and the inability to move muscles during REM sleep could help, because although sleep paralysis is terrifying, the fact that you are more aware of the process would help you manage it better. You realize why your body is not moving, and you realize that that thing is not just a mere hallucination. All in all, there's no need to fear nighttime demons because they're not real. To summarize, sleep paralysis is the condition where your brain is fully awake but your body is still asleep, and thus you cannot move. It can be caused by sleep deprivation, stress, and genetics, among others. It can be managed by getting more sleep, sleeping on your side, and getting educated on what sleep paralysis is, and that knowing that your hallucination is not real. I end my speech and now open the floor for question and answer session. Any questions?
Have you ever opened your eyes during sleep paralysis?
Have you ever opened your eyes during sleep paralysis? I have not, because in my experience, I know that my eyes are closed, because when one of the dreams I say, when I want to wake up, okay, you go to sleep and then you wake up. But when you wake up, my eyes will wake up, I wake up into another dream. I tried again, so I close my eyes. Okay, this time you're going to wake up. And I wake up, it's another dream. It goes into a loop. And then when I really do wake up, I can feel my just waking up, and my body getting up right. So that's when I know I'm not dreaming anymore. Your body is not awake, so is in your eyes. So only when you're awake, your eyes is awake. Does that answer your question? Is that confusing?
Well, okay.
All right. Yes, Arwana.
You mentioned genetic makeup in the existence of sleep therapists. Is there any specific characteristics in genetic makeup that we should look for?
No, but there's I could not answer that question. However, there is a study stating genetics does play a role in it. In a study of twins, there's a research study on twins. Half of the twins have experienced sleep paralysis. If one twin has it, the other twin definitely has sleep paralysis. In answering your question on whether there's that specific genes, let me get back to you. Any other questions? Yes.
You mentioned that sleep paralysis would more likely occur when sleeping on your back. Could you elaborate how sleeping on your back plays a part in this?
As I mentioned before, there's no specific conclusion to that. However, scientists have hypothesized that if you're sleeping on your back, your rib cage is pressing on your chest, on your lungs, due to gravity. That's one of the explanations. Yes.
Do you still experience sleep paralysis?
Yes.
And how do you overcome it?
At first, when I was younger, I would say my prayers, but as usual, the scream doesn't come out, and whenever there's someone sleeping next to me, it sounds like. But nowadays, now that I'm used to it, I just calm down and relax, and whatever's happening, I don't care. I don't bother to move anymore. Just okay, this is gonna end soon. Let it pass. I just relax, and because I know it's not a hallucination, because I know this is not real, so I'll just let it pass. Breathing techniques help as Kira, you.
Yes. So Shatra, based on your study and research, for someone who experiences sleep paralysis regularly, is there any like long-term health concerns?
There isn't.
There isn't.
There isn't. Researchers have agreed that there is no long-term health concerns. However, since it is linked to underlying psychiatric disorders, that psychiatric disorders need to be treated.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Does it affect your performance at work?
Sometimes when you're exhausted, because that takes up energy, your brain is not fully relaxed and you don't have enough sleep. It gets exhausting.
Is there any connection between lucid dreaming and
Yes. Yes. Lucid sleep paralysis is a doorway to lucid dreaming. Yes, because if you master your sleep paralysis and you know it's a hallucination, because that hallucination you brought up that hallucination, you conjure it. Once you know that you conjure it and you're not afraid, you can move around and create a world of your own. If you can conjure a specter, you can conjure a world in your dreams. Yes.
So in your research, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, in the Zimbabwe demon witch section, you mentioned that the demon can strangle you to death.
Yes.
So my question is, has someone ever died during sleep paralysis?
No. People believe someone died, but that's not the case. Research has been made. In Turkey, since it's priming, what do you call this? People in Turkey are primed to believe their folklore, and folklores can be English. Conditioning, priming. If that's what you are made to believe when you were younger, yes, yes.
Thank you.
What's the longest you've been in sleep paralysis, or if there's like a research that there's somebody still in sleep paralysis right now?
When it comes to the episodes itself, it lasts anywhere between seconds to minutes. But when it comes to sleep paralysis and how long you get it, there isn't. But they do say that if you're between the ages of 10 to 25. I'm 28 now, it's still happening. So, yes.
You mentioned that there are no long-term effects, but considering that sleep disorders occur, would sleep disorders not count as a long-term effect, considering that psychological disorders are also a thing?
Sleep disorders, however, can be treated and managed, although it cannot be cured totally.
Psychological disorders?
It can be managed as well.
Hi, do you think that this topic should be made aware, should be made we should increase awareness about this particular topic, because as you said, it is quite common for this to happen amongst the population, and do you think that we should debunk some of the misconceptions with this topic?
Definitely. I think it would be good if it would be included in, say, a website, maybe the local website, or the syllabus. What syllabus would it be? Which subject? Science? Psychology, yes. Can I ask?
Yes. You mentioned about a chemical that's inside the body that triggers the REM sleep. Is there a possible possible way to eliminate by eliminating this chemical?
I think not, because when you're dreaming, you tend to act out their dreams. If you've ever seen someone jerking their feet or a dog whimpering, but in their sleep, that muscle is protecting you. So if you don't have that neurotransmitter, you'll be sleepwalking and sleep talking, and that's very dangerous. Eliminating it would
what is your opinion on the use of white noise devices to battle out sleep paralysis?
Yes, that is part of cognitive behavioral therapy, and it's part of sleep hygiene as well. Researchers suggest that you practice sleep hygiene before you go to sleep. For example, the room needs to be dark, the air needs to be cool, and you need to relax, and no TV, no radio, no phones, but white noises are okay for you to help you calm to go to sleep. Do we still have time for one more question?
I like the question. Does sleep paralysis does the definition of sleep paralysis, what you define looking at the spectre, is just that, or for example, does sleep paralysis also relates with maybe you fall off a building then you walked up, or if I sleep on my side, then I see the spectre on my side rather than on top.
Yes. To answer your second part of the question, it's not necessarily on top of your chest. Sometimes it's on the dark corners of your room, and sometimes it's just auditory, and it's not around. It's just you hear something. And to answer if it's just a ghost or specter, sometimes it's a wolf in Spanish folklore, and in contemporary American culture, it's aliens. So it's not necessarily ghosts.
How about, sorry again, yes, how about, for example, like I said, if you dream falling off a building, then all of a sudden you woke up. Or, for example...
Yes, that is included in sleep paralysis as well, because sleep paralysis also involves out-of-body experience like floating or falling. Even though you can't move while you're falling because it's not on your own will, so you're falling.
Although you're having a really, really good dream, like you don't want to wake up.
That is
I think you mean death.
That ends the question and answer session, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Sandra. I had my first sleep paralysis when I was 13. When I try to open my eyes, I see the ugliest jinn in my life. So my tip, as what she said, try to move your toe and not open your eyes, because when you open your eyes, you see demons. Alright. Now we're going to move on to the break session. We're going to have 5 minutes break, and then we're going to move into the evaluation session. Alright.